Hi everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful flower circle, which is the top of the cherry blossom beret pattern. Follow along with the full pattern, which you can find a link to in the description on this video. I'll be using this lovely hand-dyed sock yarn that Global Backyard Industries gave me to use for this project. The colorway is called Cherry Blossom, and the yarn itself is a blend of 85% extra fine merino superwash wool and 15% nylon. We'll be following along with this chart as we go. The chart is included along with the written instructions in the full pattern. If you're watching this video on YouTube, look in the description on the video for a link to the full pattern. Let's take a quick look at the details of the chart. This section that's bordered by the dotted line, this is our repeat section. So as we go through each round, whatever stitches are in this section, we're going to work them 4 times total. And that gets us around the circle to come all the way back around here. Now you can see here the numbers for the beginnings of the round. Okay, so these are your round numbers right here. And then at the end of the round, there's a little slip stitch that tells you where to join. Okay, you'll see a grayed out stitch next to each of those slip stitches. That is the last stitch of the previous round. So this is the last stitch of round 1 that tells you basically what you did right before you joined. So it's just visually to see how the round ended. And then this tells you where to join. So you're not actually going to work these stitches because those are the last stitch of the repeat that you've already worked. So that's why they're grayed out, they're in gray. You'll see that the repeating section looks just like this section before the repeat. So why did we have a whole second section here to repeat? Well, that's because of these starting stitches. Because when you start the round, you're starting with chains instead of regular stitches. Like here's chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. And when you get to here, that becomes a double crochet. Other than that, this repeating section is exactly the same as this section. So basically you're working this section 5 times. The only thing that changes is that starting chain isn't there except at the beginning of the round. So each of these 5 sections has a petal and a lace section. So we've got 5 petals separated by lace. And then these last 2 rounds bring it all together with a nice solid border. And that's the basic layout of the chart. So let's get started making this pattern. We're going to start right here at round 1 with this set of 5 chains. So you have 1 chain that becomes your center of the circle, then you have 2 chains that act as a half double crochet, and then you have 2 chains that act as a chain 2 space. So you can see here in the repeating section we have a half double crochet and a chain 2 space, and here we have a half double crochet equivalent and a chain 2 space. So let's make 5 chains. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the 5th chain from the hook, we're going to do half double crochet, chain 2 4 times. So half double crochet, and chain 2. That was once. That is twice, half double crochet, chain 2, oops, that's 3 times, half double crochet, chain 2, that's 4 times. So now we've got the equivalent of 5 half double crochets because that first 2 chains counted as a half double crochet, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half double crochets, 5 chain 2 spaces, and we're going to end this round by slip stitching in the top of this half double crochet that was made out of 2 chains, right? See that slip stitch right there? Going into that 3rd chain that we made, the middle chain basically. So this was the center chain, then 1, 2, here is our top of our half double crochet, and we slip stitch into that. And if you're not perfect, it's okay. As long as you've got a stitch and a space, you're fine. The next thing we do, notice there's 2 slip stitches here. The next thing we need to do, because we want to shift over into this chain space, is we do a slip stitch into the chain space. And that is the end of round 1. Okay, let's start with round 2. For round 2, we start with a single chain that does not count as a stitch, and then a single crochet into the chain 1 space, and then chain 3. So chain up with the single chain, single crochet in the chain 2 space, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we skip over the stitch, and now the repeat is single crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 3. So you can see that's the same as this, it's just missing that first chain, right? So in each of these spaces we're going to single crochet, and then we're going to chain 3 to get across to the next space. And then when we get all the way around, we end with a slip stitch. Now remember, that chain did not count as a stitch, so the slip stitch is going right into that single crochet. So there is my single crochet, and I slip stitch right into that single crochet. And that's the end of round 2. Let's look at round 3. For round 3, we start with a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, and then in that same single crochet, we're going to make 2 more doubles. So it's the equivalent of 3 double crochets into the first single crochet. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in that same single crochet right where we are, we're going to work 2 more doubles. 1, 2. There we go. Now we do a chain 1, double crochet chain 1 over that chain 3 space there, right? So chain 1, double crochet in the chain 3 space, and chain 1. And then we get to our repeat, which is 3 double crochets in the single crochet, and then chain 1, double crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 1. So let's do that. 3 double crochets in our single crochet here. 1, 2, 3. Then a chain 1, double crochet in the space, and chain 1. And then we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, I've done all the repeats. I'm back around to the beginning. So I'm going to slip stitch right into the top of that first chain 3 that counted as a double crochet. So right into there, I'm going to work a slip stitch. There we go. So we're ready for round 4. Round 4 starts the same way with that chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, and then only 1 double crochet into that same first stitch, right? Then 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 2 in the next one. So if we take these 3 double crochets that we have, we're basically doing 2 double crochets in the first and the last one, and then 1 double crochet in the center one. So let's do that. Here's my 3 double crochets. In the first one, I'm going to do this chain 3 and a double crochet, so that's the equivalent of 2 double crochets. Okay. In the next one, I'm just doing 1 double crochet. And then in the last one, I'm doing 2 double crochets. Okay, now we get to our first space. Well, here we are. We're going to repeat the same thing we did before. Chain 1, double crochet this time into the double crochet, and then chain 1. So this is exact copy of that. So chain 1, find my double crochet and work a double crochet into it. Chain 1 and skip that space, and then we're back to our 3 double crochets. And when you look at the repeat here, it's the same as this, except that chain is now a double crochet. So we have 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in the next one, 2 double crochets in the next one, and then we do that same chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. So let's do one of the repeats. So that is 2 double crochets here. Double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Now we've come to our spaces, so I do a chain 1, I double crochet into that double crochet, and I do a chain 1. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll come back to you at the end. Okay, that's the end of round 4, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 3 that counted as a double crochet. So that is right there. And we're ready for round 5. Round 5 starts with that same chain 3 and then a double crochet in the first stitch. So that's an increase in the first stitch, an increase in the next stitch, then just 1 double crochet in that middle stitch, and then 2 more increases, okay? So the first stitch is a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, and then we're making this an increase, so I'm putting another double crochet right in that same spot. Then I'm going to do an increase in the next stitch as well. So 2 double crochet in there. The center stitch, I'm just doing 1. And then these last 2 stitches, I'll do 2 double crochet in each of those as well. So that's my petal. Now I've come to the spaces, and all I'm doing here is a chain 3 and skipping all of this. So here I had that chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. I'm going to skip all of that and just do a chain 3. So I do the petal and then a chain 3 and do the next petal. And you can see here this chain, these 3 chains on this part here have become this double crochet here in the repeat section. So again, it's going to be increase, increase, double crochet, increase, increase, chain 3 space. So let's do that. Here's my chain 3 space. Okay, I'm at the next petal, so I do increase, 2 double crochet. Okay, increase in the next one, so 2 double crochet in there. Just a single double crochet in the center, and then increase, increase, so 2 double crochet here, and 2 double crochet here. That's my petal, and then to get to the next petal I do 3 chains, and then I repeat it again. And to make sure you've got it right, you should have 9 stitches here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches. So that's correct for the petal. Chain 3, go on to the next petal and do it again, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. Okay, I've done my last chain 3, which brings me back around to here. And I'm just going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that first stitch, which is those 3 chains that counted as a double crochet. And that's round 5. For round 6, we're not increasing on the petals anymore. We're just going to do a double crochet in every stitch. For the beginning of the round, that 3 chains counts as a double crochet. And when we get to the repeat section, it becomes just a double crochet. In between, in the lacy section, we're going to do a chain 2, a single crochet in the chain 3 space, and then a chain 2. So we're breaking this chain 3 space up into 2 chain 2 spaces with a single crochet in the middle. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3 is our first stitch, and then we just double crochet in each of these stitches across the petal. And then in the lacy section, we go chain 2, single crochet in the chain 3 space, and chain 2. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around and come back at the end. I've come back around to the beginning of my round, and now I'm going to join with a slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 right there. And that's round 6. Let's move on to round 7. Round 7 starts the same way. We're still just doing a double crochet in each of the stitches, right? And our first double crochet is going to be that chain 3. When we get around to the repeat, it's going to be a regular double crochet. In the lacy section, now we're going to do this little V stitch here. We're going to do chain 2, and then in that single crochet in the center, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet for a small V stitch, and then chain 2 over here. Okay, so let's do that. The first part's easy, chain 3, and we do a double crochet in each of the stitches across. Okay, now we've come to the lace section. So first is a chain 2, and I skip that chain 2 space. Then is that V stitch that I do in the single crochet. So this V-stitch, and there's two types of V-stitches in this pattern, so this one is going to be a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, and then 2 chains to skip over this chain 2 space. And then we're doing the same thing all the way around with double crochet in each stitch across to the next chain section, and then we do chain 2, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the single crochet, and then chain 2. Let's do one more repeat together, and then I'll do the rest and come back. So double crochet in each of these 9 stitches. Okay, now in here we do chain 2 to get over the chain 2 space, and then we're going to do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that single crochet, chain 2 to get past the chain 2 space. I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I'll come back. I've come all the way back around. I'm ready to join in the top of that starting chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. And that's round 7. So now let's move on to round 8, and here we start decreasing to bring the petals back in, right? So on round 8, it starts with a chain 2 that does not count as a stitch. We chain 2, and we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. So we're chaining 2 and essentially skipping this first stitch, right? And then we're double crocheting here. That is the equivalent of a double crochet 2 together. So when we come around to the repeat section, you can see here we're doing a double crochet 2 together over these stitches. So this whole thing here is the equivalent of a double crochet 2 together. Then we're going to double crochet in each stitch across to the last 2, and then we're going to double crochet 2 together on that. So we're basically doing decrease, decrease on each side and just working into each of the stitches in between. So let's do that across the petal. So chain 2 does not count as a stitch. We're skipping this stitch and we're working our double crochet into this one. Then we double crochet in the next, I want to say 4 stitches or 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Okay, that's 5 stitches. Now we've got 2 left on the petal, and we're going to do a double crochet 2 together. So you yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, just as though you were doing a double crochet. Stop here and start the next double crochet. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 2 partial double crochets and 3 loops on your hook, so you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is a double crochet 2 together. So now we've reached the lace section, and here we're going to do the type of V-stitch that we'll use for the rest of the pattern. We're going to chain 3 to get over this chain space, and then we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the center of this V here, in the chain 1 space there. Then we're going to do another chain 3. So this, with the double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, that's what we have all through the rest of the pattern. So that is going to show up again and again. So we're going to chain 3 first, skip over this chain 2 space, and then in the chain 1 space here, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, then chain 3 to skip over the next chain 2 space, and we're back to the petal. So let's do one full repeat together here. We're going to do a double crochet 2 together, decrease. Okay, we're going to double crochet in the next 5 stitches. And we're going to do another decrease over the last 2. Then we're going to chain 3, skip that chain 2 space. In the center of this V, in that chain 1 space, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. And then we're going to chain 3 to skip across to the next petal. Skip that chain 2 space and start on the next petal. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around and then come back. Okay, I've finished that last chain space. Now when we join, it's important to remember here that this chain 2 is not a stitch. We're joining into the top of the double crochet. So there's my chain 1, 2, there is the top of my double crochet. Again, 1, 2 chains, there is the top of my double crochet where I want to join. Okay? On round 9, you'll notice that the decrease, which starts out the same way as round 8 did, is only on this side of the petal. It's not on this side. So let's go ahead and start this row with a chain 2 that does not count as a stitch. And we're going to do a decrease. Now remember, we are in this stitch here. We're not in this stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch and we're going to work a double crochet here. Okay? So that's our first decrease. Now we're going to double crochet in each of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and that'll bring us to the lace section. Okay. Now for the lace section, it's getting a little more complicated here, right? Here we're going to have chain 2, single crochet, chain 2 into the chain 3 space. That is exactly what we did down here when we had just the chain 3 space. Remember we did chain 2, single crochet, chain 2? We're doing that here. Okay, so we're doing that here on either side of that center V. And then when we get to the center V, we're going to do another V inside of it. So double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So let's do that. On this side of the V, we're going to do a chain 2, a single crochet, and then a chain 2. Now we get to the V. And in the V, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. Okay, now we're back to that chain 3 space. We're going to do a chain 2, single crochet, chain 2. All right, and that brings us back to our petal. Let's do one full repeat together. So that is a decrease. Okay, and then 5 regular double crochets. Now for this first chain 3 space, we're going to do a chain 2, single crochet, chain 2. For the next chain 3 space at the center of that V shape, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. And for the next chain 3 space, we're going to do a chain 2, single crochet, chain 2. And that's our repeat. So I'll do that all the way around and then come back at the end of the round. I'm back to the beginning of the round. Once again, this chain 2 here does not count as a stitch, so we're doing our slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet. So don't go into that chain 2, go into this double crochet here and slip stitch. And that is the end of round 9. Now we're on round 10. Round 10, we're going to decrease on each side again. So it is that chain 2 decrease at the beginning, right? But it's decrease, 2 double crochets, and then decrease for the petal. And then we'll get to the lace section. So let's do this one first. So chain 2 and skip that first stitch. Remember, this was the chain 2, so that's not a stitch. Skip that first stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, 2 double crochets. And then a decrease, so a double crochet 2 together. All right, let's look at this lace section and let's break it down a little bit. We know we've got this V shape in the center with the double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, right? On either side of that, we're going to repeat the same thing. So on either side of that, we're going to do a chain 2 and then a double crochet in that first chain 2 space. A chain 1 to get over the single crochet, and then a double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and then a chain 2. Okay. So let's do all of that together. So chain 2, and then a double crochet in the first chain 2 space. Chain 1 gets us over the single crochet, and then we do a double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Then chain 2 gets us to this center V shape, and we're going to do another V shape in here. So double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. All right, now we repeat the same thing that we did over here on this side. So it's chain 2, and then it's a double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Yes, double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Then it's chain 1 to get over the single crochet, and then it's double crochet in the next chain 2 space. And then finally a chain 2 gets us back to the petal. So let's do this whole repeat together now. So we're going to decrease, okay, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and decrease again. Then we're going to chain 2, double crochet in this first chain space. Chain 1 to get over the single crochet, double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Chain 2, and in the center of this V shape where we have that chain 3 space, we do a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. Okay, then we chain 2, double crochet into this chain space, chain 1, double crochet in the next chain space, and chain 2. So I know that's a long repeat now because we're getting out, farther into the outer rounds here, but we're going to repeat that all the way around, and then I'll come back to the beginning with you. I'm all the way back around. Once again, I'm going to slip stitch into the first double crochet, not into those chains. So I slip stitch right there. Okay, and that is round 10. Let's move on to round 11. Round 11 closes out our petals with 2 decreases at the top of the petal. So it's that same chain 2 starting decrease, right? But it's decrease, decrease, and then we get to the lace section. Now for the lace section, we're going to do basically 3 of these V shapes that we've been doing, right? With a chain space in between each of them. So we have chain 2 skips over the first chain 2 space. Then we do this V shape, this double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into the chain 1 space. Then chain 2 skips over the chain 2 space, and a V shape in the center of the previous V shape. And then we repeat that. Chain 2, skip over the chain 2 space, V shape in between the 2 double crochets, and then chain 2 to skip over the last chain 2 space. So let's go ahead and do that repeat. Let's break it down first. We're doing 2 decreases to start. So chain 2, do not work into that stitch, work into the next stitch and do a double crochet. And then we do a decrease in the next 2 stitches. And that closes off that petal. Now we've hit the chain spaces. So first thing is chain 2 and skip that chain 2 space. So chain 2, skip that chain 2 space. Now we're going to do this double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the chain 1 space. So there's my chain 2 that I skipped, there's my chain 1. So I'm going to do the double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into that chain 1 space. Now I do another chain 2 and skip the next chain 2 space. And I'm skipping those double crochets down there as well, I'm just not saying it. Okay, so we get to this chain 3 space and we do that same thing again. Double crochet, chain 3, whoops, I just lost my ball of yarn. Double crochet. Okay, now we're doing another chain 2. And that chain 2 gets us over this chain 2 space. And then we're back to that chain 1 space, right? In that chain 1 space, we do our double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. And then another chain 2 skips this last space, and we're back to our petal. Decrease, decrease. Okay, chain 2, skip that space. In the next space, we go double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then chain 2, skip that space, and in the next space we have double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then we chain 2, skip that space, and in the next space we have double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then we chain 2 and skip that last space. So you can see the pattern. It's chain 2, skip a space, V shape in the next space, chain 2, skip a space, V shape in the next space. And you do that 3 times, chain 2 to skip the last space, and we are back to a petal. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around and come back to you at the end of the round. Okay, I'm all the way back around, and again I'm going to slip stitch in the top of that first double crochet, not into the chain 2. So there we go. Okay, and that is the end of round 11 and the end of our petals. Now the next round is actually going to be super easy, but we want to start it with a chain 3 space. Why? Because when we get to here with the repeats, we want a chain 3 space that goes over that whole petal, right? But we're starting right here at the beginning of the petal. So how do you start a round with a chain 3 space? Well, you do an extra chain to get the height, and then you do a chain 3 space. So this is actually a chain 4 that counts as a chain 3 space. When we slip stitch back into it, we'll slip stitch into the space itself. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and that's going to count as a chain 3 space over that petal. Now the rest of the round, the whole thing, is basically single crochet in the next space and then chain 3. Single crochet in the next space, chain 3. You're going to skip all of the stitches, but you're going to single crochet, chain 3 in every space all the way around. So this is a space, so I single crochet, chain 3. Whoop. Single crochet in the next space, chain 3. Ignore any stitches that you see and just single crochet in every space and then chain 3 to get across to the next space. And we're going to just do that all the way around. You don't have to pay attention to the repeat of, where you're going into. It's basically just every single space you see, you're going to single crochet and chain 3. And when we get over the petal, again, you're skipping all the stitches you see and just single crochet in the next space. Okay, I'll keep going all the way around and pick it back up at the end. I finished the round and I've ended with a single crochet. You can see that grayed out single crochet there. That was the last one I did. Now I'm going to slip stitch into this starting chain 3 space. So I just slip stitch right into that space. And that is round 12. Now round 13 and 14 are solid double crochet rounds. Round 13 is going to give us a nice even double crochet base to work off of. And then round 14 is going to take us to 150 stitches. So all this time we've been working in groups of 5 because we've had 5 petals. But when we work hats, we're used to working with groups of 6, right? 150 is divisible by 6 as well. So this gets us back to a multiple of 6 where we can start working a hat like we normally would. So let's start with round 13. Round 13 is super easy. We're going to do 4 double crochets into each of these chain 3 spaces. So our first double crochet is a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. Everything after that is just 4 double crochets into the chain 3 spaces. So we're already in this chain 3 space where we slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, that's our first double crochet. Put 3 more in this space. And now we're going to go around and just work 4 double crochets into each of these chain 3 spaces, ignoring the single crochets in between. There's no chain spaces on this round. We're just doing double crochets. Okay, I'll go all the way around and I'll see you at the end of the round. I've reached the end of round 13. I worked my last double crochet and now I'm ready to join with a slip stitch in the top of this starting chain 3. So I'm going to do that right there, and that's the end of round 13. I've just now noticed there was a slight mistake in this chart that we've been using all along, so I've printed out a new chart. The mistake was right here. This increase should be, instead of in this stitch, it should have been in this stitch. That's it. You can see here this increase, instead of being in the first stitch of this group of 4, is in the second stitch of the group of 4. And here I had it in the first stitch. So ignore that. That chart was wrong, and we are replacing it with this chart. And that mistake was only in the last round, so we haven't gotten there yet. Now round 14 is, again, all double crochets, but with some increases to bring us to the right stitch count, right? So we're starting with 3 double crochets just because I liked the way the increase looked right there. So we're starting with 3 double crochets, and then after that it's going to be increase and then 13 double crochets. Increase, 13 double crochets. At the end of our repeat, we'll only have 10 because we started with the 3 there, right? So I chain 3 for my first double crochet, and then it's double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So that's my first 3. And now I'm going to start this repeating thing of increase, meaning 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then 13 double crochets, 2. And then if I want to check that I'm in the right space, this increase is in the second double crochet of this group of 4 that's after this central V shape. So here's my central V shape, here's my group of 4 that comes after it, and I am in the second double crochet, so I'm in the right spot. So I increase here, and then I do another 13 double crochet. And I'm going to keep doing that, increase and then 13 double crochet, and I'm going to join you again after my last increase so you can see the last few stitches of the round. I've done my last increase, and you should see that there are 10 stitches left to get me all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I already had these first 3 stitches before my first increase. So 10 plus these 3 would make 13 between my increases. So I'm back around to the beginning, I join with a slip stitch, and that is the end of round 14 and the end of our flower circle. Now you may notice your circle curling a little bit and a little roughly, right? Don't worry, blocking is really important with this pattern, and blocking will take care of that because it'll make all these chain spaces really open up a lot like that, right? So your circle will actually get a little bit bigger once you block it because all of those chains will open up. And you can see even with me just pulling on a little bit and dry blocking it, it's already starting to open up more and lay flatter. So once you finish your project, you can just block it and you'll have a nice flat circle at the top. And that's how you make the flower circle at the top of the cherry blossom beret. Now this doesn't have to be the top of a hat. You could use the circle all by itself, or anywhere that you want a circle shape, you can use this flower circle pattern. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or leave me a comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great videos. Thanks for watching.